John McCain is a great American hero. Even though he was my opponent in 2008, there's no way that anyone can say anything other than this is one of the most honorable people who ever served our country, who sacrificed incredibly for our country. And let it not be forgotten that John McCain was actually given an opportunity to be released early. All he had to do was sign a statement that would have given some credibility to the North Vietnamese. He stayed and for several more years experienced excruciating torture to keep from ever having to make a statement that would in any way reflect against his country. People who have been prisoners of war for our country, greatest heroes we've had, tougher than I'll ever hope to be. And we should do nothing but honor them, thank them, and make darn sure that every need they have when they come back from such an ordeal is not only cared for, but that is appreciated by every American.
So was Donald Trump wrong to say what he said?
I'm going to let the people of America, I said very clearly, John McCain's a hero. What John McCain did was the most honorable, sacrificial service that a man could give to his country. And Donald Trump will need to determine whether that's a statement he would walk back. I speak for me. You just heard what I said. I'll let Donald Trump speak for Donald Trump.
Governor Huckabee, after the Supreme Court decision on same-sex marriage, would you support a constitutional amendment to let states define it as they please, or would you support a constitutional amendment to ban it in all 50 states, ban same-sex marriage in all 50 states? What route would you prefer to go?
Well, I think the presumption is the only thing we can do as a constitutional amendment. The thing we can also do is to recognize that the courts cannot make a law. Anyone who passed 9th grade civics, anybody who understands the Constitution and has read it carefully knows that there are 3 branches of government, they're all equal. One is not more equal than the other. And I hear people say, well, once the Supreme Court rules, that's the end of it. It's never the end of it. If it were the end of it, then we have what Jefferson warned us about. If we ever allowed the court to be the final decision without any check and balance, that would be judicial tyranny. So we're not simply to roll over and say, well, that's it. There's nothing we can do. Until the people's elected representatives of Congress pass legislation, signed, and then enforced by the president, we really don't have what a lot of people have presumed we have, which is automatic same-sex marriage in all 50 states.
Are you saying officials in states don't have to abide by that decision until their representatives pass a law?
If one believes in the constitutional balance of powers, the equality of the 3 branches, that's exactly what the Constitution makes clear. If the judicial branch could supersede the other 2, then we're operating under something that, again, the founders were very concerned about, judicial supremacy. Jefferson specifically warned about it and said it would lead to judicial tyranny. And if you read Robert's dissent, which was, by the way, both scathing and brilliant, he made very clear that if this were to simply be accepted as norm, then you no longer have a government of the people by their representatives. What you have is 5, and he put it this way, unprecedented language for a Supreme Court justice, especially this Chief Justice, who's normally very congenial. But he used the term, not my colleagues, my esteemed fellow court members, he said then 5 lawyers rule over 320 million Americans. Pretty bold.
And last follow-up, the Supreme Court decision, the precedent for which they can review laws has been around since 1804. Would you try to remove it?
1803 with Marbury. Yeah.
Would you try to
review law, not to make it. There's a difference between reviewing it and making it. Let's also remember that the Dred Scott decision of 1857 was in fact a Supreme Court ruling. Abraham Lincoln ignored it. He ignored it because I don't think any of us here, none of us, and if I'm wrong, please correct me, but I don't think anybody here would ever say that the Dred Scott decision was one that we should honor. It was the law of the land because it said that black people weren't fully human. Nobody I know says that that's a ruling that we should roll over and that Abraham Lincoln was wrong because he ignored it and refused to accept it. We all revere Abraham Lincoln for having the courage to declare that such a decision was not only unacceptable, but it violated the very heart and soul of the Constitution, and therefore he simply did not accept it.
Governor,
Yes.
the polls are showing that Donald Trump is the leader in this presidential race. What do you think it says about the voters and about your party that somebody who's had these comments about illegal immigrants from Mexico and today the comments about McCain, that he's someone that the voters in your party want as their standard bearer? Does that trouble you at all, or do you have any kind of explanation for why he seems to be so popular right now?
I'm having a hard time understanding why I don't have 97% of the polls right now, instead of, being in like third or fourth place in a lot of them. So I want to try to figure out what the voters are thinking. I just know that the polls fluctuate a lot. They have over the past few weeks, and they will continue to. And it probably doesn't matter a whole lot what the polls show at this point. I remember at this point, 8 years ago, I was an asterisk in the polls. I don't think I even was registering. And at that point, everyone was just presuming that it was going to be President Rudy Giuliani. So I think we're a long way from seeing any success.
But there does seem to be something happening out there with what he's saying,
Sure.
and millions of people across the country responding
Sure.
to that and the message resonating. And why do you think that is?
You guys are giving it so much attention, for heaven's sakes. Give me a little of the love and we'll see what happens.
Two more.
Are you frustrated, Governor? Are you frustrated at all with the crowds you're getting here in Iowa?
Oh no, I'm quite encouraged.
And how will this event help you attract more people?
That remains to be seen, how the event will help me, but no, I'm incredibly encouraged by the crowds. Every venue we go to, we're pretty much filling it up and overflowing it. And we have enthusiasm. We have county chairmen in virtually, I think, 60 plus counties. We've been to 30 plus counties so far. We'll make them all. My gosh, compared to where we were and how things are going, I couldn't be more delighted. We're on track to win the caucuses in February.
Governor Huckabee.
Walker got into the race this week.
Did he? I missed that. My gosh.
Should voters be concerned at all about his previous statements on issues like abortion and his son's support for same-sex marriage?
Governor Walker's a very capable, qualified candidate. He'll make his own positions known, just like I will have to make mine known, and I'll have to defend everything I've said or done. All 300 plus candidites will be required to do the same.
Should the debates be open up to all